Hi, this is about a letter. I tried to find it. I used to have it on my wall, but I just moved house recently, and it's in piles of boxes and stuff. Yeah, I spent nearly 6 years of my life working in call centers. Yeah, so. That at this point is about I'm 30, so that's about a fifth of my life just gone. But yeah, I started a uni degree and dropped out of that because I had this telemarketing job, which was quite easy to do. It was a lot of fun, and I never, 1 year turns into another, to another. I was working for Telstra, then their telemarketing thing kind of went belly up. I worked at an income tax place, and then I ended up working this is about 4 years in, I ended up working at ANZ. And I was finally kind of getting out of just being on the phone and talking to mortgage brokers and all that boring stuff. But by then I was a pretty cynical person. And my best friend, I'd also roped into working in call centers because it was that kind of easy cash, monkey work you can do. He was working on one side of the river. He was working at BP. Maybe I shouldn't say where he was working, but anyway, he's long since quit as well. But he was working at BP. I'm working at ANZ, and we could virtually see the buildings that each other was working in, and we were both getting more and more just kind of spiraling into cynicism as we were just surrounded by these corporate lackeys. I just remember I was taking a lunch break one day, reading a book, and someone asked me, "Oh, why are you reading that?" And I said, "Well, it's a book on the history of Melbourne or whatever it was." And they go, "Well, it's not going to make you any money, so why are you reading it?" And this is the kind of environment we were in, and just to survive it, one thing I'd really like to do was get emails from that you'd get from whoever it might be, the head of the mortgages department or some merchandising area, and just kind of lampoon them, and I'd send them back and forth. Alex and I would trade them back and forth. And we started writing like little office haikus. I'm a performance poet now. The first ever poem I wrote was at ANZ. It was a haiku, and it was, "I have no desire to talk to you while standing at the urinal." And it went on like another one was, "You are not your job, and it is a good thing too, because your job sucks." So this is the kind of thing we were just getting more and more flair about it. And one day I got an email from Chris Cooper, no relation to the actor, who's the head of ANZ Mortgages in Sydney, and it was about the rollout. The corporate words, I still use them sometimes. It was the rollout of the EES replacing the ESS. The EES is Employee Engagement Survey, which is replacing the Employee Satisfaction Survey, because we at ANZ feel that employee engagement is a much more valuable measure than employee satisfaction. You need to be engaged in your work. We're interested in employees here who bring their heart as well as their head to work. And he went on to ramble about how this was going to improve our community standing and all this stuff. And then he signed off, as these corporate people love to do, with like a little quote. And it was a quote from Albert Einstein about studies and enviable opportunity to challenge, improve, strive, all that corporate shit. So it was just right. It was a ripe target. I forwarded it on to my friend with a little commentary on the bottom. Yeah, well, I think it would be great if I had the letter, but it went more along the lines of this. This one's so deplorable. I just feel like pasting up on rotten.com as just a horrible example of corporate shit. I think a lot of us here are not only bringing our head and our heart, but our colon to work, and we use that when we're writing emails to our underlings. So I'm going to sign off now. I can't claim Albert Einstein as part of my constituency. Instead, I'm going to go with Brad Pitt. And I sign off my name, Randall Stevens. Working a job I hate to buy shit I don't need. And I sent it off to my friend. And I was feeling pretty good about myself. And being a very boring job, I often reread my own emails. And so I'm going through the sent items, trying to find it, and it's not turning up, to Alex. And I was pretty sure, and it's not in my drafts, I've sent it. Then I went by subject, and I found it, and it was not a forward. It was a reply. So I ran up to my manager, who was a few cubicles down, and said, "Hey, Microsoft Outlook, how do you do that recall thing?" And he goes, "Okay, well, you do this. Went back, tried to do it, and this big red line appears through my Outlook, and it says, this has been removed from the system pending an inquiry. And so I got on the phone to try and call up ANZ in Sydney, and I got onto the guy's secretary, who was trying to decide how they were going to respond to this email. So I pretty much bit the bullet and went and told my boss what I did, and they fired me on the spot. Yeah, and that was the last day of my life I've ever worked in a call center. Happy ending.